And a very happy Wednesday to you at 12:08 in the West. Talk Radio 790 KABC, The John Phillips Show. Mr. Randy Wangs in Culver City.
John, with a new administration means a lot of turnover for a lot of appointed positions, including ambassadors. And you know what that means.
A certain former mayor is being recalled.
And he may have written and produced a goodbye video. Ladies and gentlemen, the now former ambassador to India, Eric Garcetti.
My dearest India.
Oh, God.
What's with the music?
He is a classically trained pianist.
Okay, but this sounds like something that you would hear in an after-school special.
My dearest India. From the moment I landed in New Delhi to serve as the 26th U.S. ambassador, you have felt like home.
Oh, God.
That sounds weirdly sexual.
This extraordinary country I first visited as a child and again as a student has captured my imagination and you, its people.
This is sex music.
It really is. Is there some woman sitting in the background smoking a cigarette?
I didn't realize he loved India this much.
And you, its people, have captured my heart.
All right, India. I could characterize my time here as giving till it hurts, if you know what I mean.
This man, I know it's been a while. I know he hasn't been a mayor for many years now. But he is the phoniest person alive in all of politics. And that's saying something.
And
He's
you,
acting like he had sex with the whole country.
and you, its
Maybe he had that busy of a 2 years.
There's a lot of people in India.
and you, its people, have captured my heart. How do I say thank you to the most hospitable people in the world? Your people's dosti and their zindadili.
Oh, God.
Okay, so now he's lapsing. What kind of language is this?
Probably Hindi.
I thought they spoke English over there.
Touch me every day.
Uh-oh.
Told ya.
Your people's dosti and their zindadili touch me every day.
Wow. It's like his time with Rick Jacobs.
You've welcomed
Now we've got violin here. It sounds like Bridgerton.
me into your homes and your schools.
Who welcomed that? Who welcomed this man into their house?
Your bedrooms, your dungeons.
You've welcomed me into your homes and your schools, your shops, and you've shared with me the places that you live, learn, and worship.
This is, so far he said absolutely nothing.
No. Well, maybe he could replace Rob Bonta.
I've met everyday Indians who inspire me, students who give me hope for the future, and entrepreneurs who make me excited about what's to come next.
You went on a 2-year-long food tour.
Well, he did a lot of dancing, too. Don't forget that.
There was the dancing. He probably had a great time. I mean, these jobs, especially for like a country that we're not currently thinking about going to war with, it's a 2-year paid vacation.
That dancing video he posted was completely ridiculous. He looked like he was coming down off of heroin.
And your festivals, your music, your art, your cuisine, all
Cuisine?
That is the oddest pronunciation of cuisine I've ever heard.
your cuisine.
Sounds like he's saying queasy.
Well, they call it deli belly for a reason.
Maybe he doesn't care for the chicken tikka masala.
Your cuisine, all have left an indelible mark on my soul.
But mostly on his colon.
As I travel to 28 states all across India, I've been able to float past the Ghats at Varanasi. I've crossed living root bridges in Meghalaya, sailed through the
This music is getting more epic by the second for a man who is saying nothing.
The only way this actually works is if you're obviously phony. If I were to sit down and read that script, I would end up being canceled.
sailed through the backwaters of Kerala, cheered on India at Modi Stadium, and played hoops with the girls.
By the way, I don't know what this backing track is, but it doesn't sound Indian. It sounds Scottish.
Yeah, I wonder if he just picked some nondescript foreign music.
Sailed through the backwaters of Kerala, cheered on India at Modi Stadium, and played hoops.
By the way, he's giving straight up evidence to there's no actual job for the ambassador.
No. You notice he hasn't mentioned one thing of substance yet?
And played hoops with the girls in bustling Mumbai. I've seen that fusion of ancient royalty and modern innovation in Hyderabad. Celebrated the culture of...
The music's getting louder and louder, and he's still saying nothing.
Well, if you're the music director, wouldn't you want to drown him out too?
His final order to his staff, people that are paid with American tax dollars, was to produce this YouTube video because he wants to go viral like Chappell Roan did last year.
It's too bad that Elon wasn't around sooner because they could have cut this guy's budget.
Celebrated the culture of Kolkata and the incredible history and the ancient temples of Chennai.
Wouldn't you want to list all the things that you did to help the country's diplomatic relations? He's literally talking about going on holiday.
No, he went over there to be the Hulhauser of India.
We've launched a new beginning in Bangalore. And as I look back, I am...
Bangalore, that's where they have the raves.
Maybe this is some kind of secret Trump plot to curb immigration. If we send him over to India, one of the most populated countries on planet Earth, and they think that this is what Americans are like, maybe they just won't come here.
And as I look back, I am awestruck at how much we have achieved together.
Oh, the music's getting very serious. We're back to just the piano.
Tickle those ivories.
Together. We've loaded vaccines we developed together onto trucks that will save lives.
Wait, was he going over there doing COVID PSAs?
Well, if he spent some time at the loading dock, that's the first hint of work that he's talked about.
Just be smart and stay apart.
Do you think that worked in Hindi?
I've seen our scientists build the satellites that we will send into the heavens to protect our planet.
You know, I've seen the traffic over there. Maybe he brought the road diets to India.
And we've seen our businesses trade together, our guardians train together, and our people celebrate together.
Our guardians? What is he, like Britney Spears and Wendy Williams? Is there a conservatorship that we're unaware of?
And we brought more students to India and from India than ever before, planting the seeds of tomorrow's mutual hope today.
And UCLA appreciates all the admissions.
That's out-of-state tuition, baby.
Incredible India is incredible.
Oh, you might want to do another take on that one. Your voice cracked, buddy.
Incredible India.
Maybe he's just getting that emotional.
I think so.
And, there is some emotion involved here because he's coming back completely unemployable. He might have to go the Viragosa route and go get on the board at Herbalife.
Or go move to a different city.
Incredible India is incredible.
No, you can't do that. You can't call something incredible incredible.
Play that again.
Incredible India is incredible.
Okay. Is there not a thesaurus in that entire embassy?
If you're trying to go for alliteration, it doesn't work when you're using the same word over again. You just sound very uneducated. And you're supposed to be the representation for the United States for all of us to 1 billion people.
Incredible India is incredible.
I don't think he has any idea that he should be embarrassed.
He isn't one of these people, much like former Oakland Mayor Sheng Tao. He has to be oblivious of just how ridiculous he is.
He must just surround himself with sycophants who just tell him every idea that pops into his head is a great idea.
Oh, we're well aware that's what his administration was like when he ran L.A.
Because of your diversity, your rich traditions.
So wait, the first thing you're going with is diversity in India.
Okay, I've never been there. But I didn't know that that's what they were known for.
Incredible India is incredible because of your diversity.
Okay, those are a string of words that mean absolutely nothing.
He has spoken for 2 minutes and 17 seconds and has said nothing of substance. It is making me relive this administration all over again.
And it also makes you think, if you're Karen Bass, why don't you just blame this jackass?
There are so many things you could blame him for.
Incredible India is incredible because of your diversity, your rich traditions, and your resilience and resourceful people.
None of that means anything. You could say that about anywhere.
I bet you we paid someone to write this, too.
Oh, yeah. You think this is coming out of his pen?
And your spirit of innovation and commitment to progress inspires me deeply.
Didn't they buy a bunch of, dirty oil from Russia?
Oh, yeah. Well, they need it to keep their economy going.
You see, the American and the Indian dream, they're flip sides of the same coin.
Oh, God. So wait a minute. If I'm getting this straight, it sounds like he's receiving things on both ends.
I receive things on both ends. You see, the American and the Indian dream, they're flip sides of the same coin.
Sure.
And India, you have my heart.
Well, I will give him credit for this. When he said that we're flip sides of the same coin, he didn't mention the Sacagawea coin.
I will always deeply love America, where I was born. But India has been a place where I've learned to embrace life in full color.
Yeah, you could stay there.
He could be like Columbus and confuse him.
A place where humanity can understand our past and it can glimpse our future. And the U.S. and India, I'm confident, will always be united by the deep ties that exist between our people. United by our mutual respect, united by our belief in possibility and what we can accomplish together through hard work and a shared vision.
That all means nothing.
And he keeps going for some reason.
Our relationship.
He posted this on YouTube. Who is this video for besides us?
How many views does the video have?
Oh, that'd be an interesting thing to check out. Let's find out. The current video, the love letter to India, Ambassador Eric Garcetti's farewell video, has 41,000 views.
That's surprising, although a number of our listeners sent the video to us last night.
And it also could be making the rounds in India because let's not forget, in India, Eric Garcetti is quite a joke.
Critics say this largely is Garcetti's fault.
All it takes is one popular television program or radio program in India to talk about it, and you'll get like 1 million views.
Our relationship. Well, it's truly an enduring story of love for the ages.
Oh, my.
He really thinks that much of himself, huh?
Garcetti thinks he's living in a romance novel.
Yeah. Maybe Danielle Steele wrote this.
Could be Julia Quinn.
And we are only getting started.
Actually, you're leaving.
Yeah, what's this talk about only getting started?
The loving sexual relationship between India and America. And India could teach us a thing or two because we're prudish Puritans.
Sounds like India needs a restraining order.
Picture abhi baki hai mere dost.
Wait, was that Garcetti speaking Hindi?
It sounded like someone else.
And we are only getting started. Picture abhi baki hai mere dost.
And that's the video. Trails off with this beautiful music.
That was one of the oddest videos I've ever heard in my entire life.
I want to give a huge shout out to listener Bob, who emailed us this last night at johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com, and I immediately dropped everything and watched every second of it, and I still don't know what it is that I watched.
You know, I've never done an illegal drug in my life, but I wonder if this is what dropping acid feels like.
And I got to tell you, as incredible as the audio of this video is, if you've got free time, do a Google on the YouTube for the U.S. Embassy India channel, because it is full of pictures of Garcetti eating and dancing, and there was obviously a photographer paid taxpayer dollars to do nothing but make him look like he's having the greatest vacation ever.
There you have it. Eric Garcetti's Exercise in Narcissism.
What does he do next?
I don't know where you go from that. I really don't.
He going to come back and run for governor?
If you're running against him, why don't you just buy ad time and play that? If you'd like to email the show, you can do so at johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. That's johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. And I see the Garcetti emails are starting to come in.
Oh, yes. Why don't we read a couple of them? Katrina writes in and says, my church went on a 10-mission trip to India and did more work than Garcetti did in 2 years. Greg writes in and says he was auditioning for his next career, a role in Bollywood. Mark writes in and says, maybe now there will be a Garcetti-Rick Jacobs reunion. Greg writes in and says, wait till he gets back to L.A. and sees what a third world country he looks like now. Penny writes in and says, oh, good. He hasn't said anything. It's not just me.
I'll tell you, Eric Garcetti emails are like donuts. I've never had a bad one. I like some more than others, but I've never had one that I haven't liked.
Carmela writes in and says, disgusting. I think he will run for governor. Chris writes in and says, just wondering, did Eric Garcetti ever do a Dearest Los Angeles video when he left here?
I think that was more like a Dear John letter.
Sean writes in and says, his pronunciation of cuisine sounds like it was done by AI.
All right. Well, if you want to go back into the archive and listen to an episode about Eric Garcetti, Randy, that's easy to do.
All you got to do is go to kabc.com, click on podcasts.
Just be smart and stay apart.
Go to the Apple Podcast app, iHeart, Spotify, search for The John Phillips Show, hit subscribe. You can download all the episodes.
I give them the full face.
Do a Google on the YouTube or get that handy-dandy KABC app.
You give us the supply, we'll meet the need by July.
Search KABC AM in the Apple App Store, the Android Store. It's the easiest way to listen live to this radio station and download all the podcasts of Eric Garcetti saying very weird things.
We often lead from the front, but it is time for us to lead from the back.
And Randy, we're moving down the dial in the San Francisco Bay.
We do a version of the Fixed California Hour weeknights at 11 on 560 KSFO, except KSFO moved from 560. Now it's on AM 810, a bigger, stronger signal that at night you can hear crystal clear down here. So set a preset on your radio dial for AM 810, and if you're driving around at 11 o'clock at night because, I don't know, you need to go make a run for the border at Taco Bell, maybe you can listen to the Fixed California Hour.
Here with the fire update, Mr. Randy Wang.
Here we go again. The Hughes fire, this one erupted in the Castaic area, is now up to 3,400 acres. There are mandatory evacuations out there in all areas around that. They've just evacuated 2 schools, North Lake Hills Elementary, and they have been evacuated, and other Castaic high schools, those kids are taken to other schools in the William S. Hart district in the Santa Clarita area. The 5 freeway looks like it's getting closed down at the Grapevine. It is not looking good. There is a lot of brush there to burn, and the winds are only going to be getting it worse this afternoon. So if you get any kind of evacuation order, if you're anywhere near the Castaic area, be ready. And if you got to go, you got to go.
We were hopeful that we would be out of the woods by now, but with the weather conditions as they currently stand, this week is going to be critical. So we, of course, want to thank all of the firefighters and first responders who are battling these fires. These firefighters, of course, have been worked about as hard as you can work a group of people over the last several weeks. So we know that they're tired. We know that they're exhausted. We know that they have certainly been clocking in a lot of hours down at the plant fighting these fires. So our heart goes out to them as they fight these fires. All right. One of the things that we've seen happen here in the state of California, due to a variety of reasons, an evolving economy, the high cost of living, the high cost of rent, the taxation and regulation, and, of course, out-of-control rampant crime, is that a number of businesses that have been around a long time are closing their doors permanently, including department stores. And, Randy, we have another one to add to the list.
San Francisco, which recently lost its Macy's, is now losing its Bloomingdale's, which I wasn't aware are practically the same store because Bloomingdale's is owned by Macy's.
I've never been able to tell them apart.
I mean, they're all the same, and they're all a very antiquated kind of way of shopping these days. But once again, this isn't helping the doom loop scenarios that are still being talked about when it comes to the city of San Francisco, even with the new mayor in town, Daniel Lurie. Here is a report from KGO.
Well, it is bye-bye Bloomingdale's and another big blow.
Now, there's some alliteration for you.
Mark Brown could deliver that.
He is the gold standard.
Naked and unafraid and just a feet away from the Beverly Hills border. As the tents go up, the clothes come off, and now outraged locals are fighting back against the nudity, narcotics, and negative impact on their businesses.
I will say, the alliteration in that piece is fantastic, but the best part is as the tents go up, the clothes come off. That is gold.
It is bye-bye Bloomingdale's and another big blow to the San Francisco Center. The department store is going to close its flagship location in March, and the mall is losing its last anchor tenant.
Which means the mall's about to go. Malls cannot survive by Hot Topic alone.
Is losing its...
I think we're at a post-mall economy. Every mall has tons and tons and tons of vacancies. How exactly is this sustainable?
I wonder if certain businesses that exist nowhere other than at the mall are going to survive this. Like, when have you ever seen a hot dog on a stick that's not in a mall?
You know, things are getting so bad. I was driving past a strip mall in the Northridge area over the weekend, and even the Spirit Halloween went out of business.
Uh-oh.
Is losing its last anchor tenant. ABC 7 News reporter Tim Johns spoke with city leaders and has reaction from them and shoppers as well.
Well, there aren't any shoppers. That's why they left.
Shoppers are all on Amazon.
When enough stores leave a mall, it turns into a giant gathering place for the homeless, and then less people want to shop there.
The mall in the heart of San Francisco took another blow Tuesday after its largest tenant, Bloomingdale's, announced it was leaving. The department store says the shifting retail landscape and its evolving strategies for future operations both played a part in the decision. In a statement to ABC 7 News, Bloomingdale's said, "We are hopeful to be back to serve the San Francisco community in the future."
No, you're not.
You know what's funny? You look at these old movies from like the 1980s, even the early 1990s. That was like the center of town. That was social media before social media. Everyone showed up to the mall to figure out what was going on. You'd see all these teenagers in the 80s with big hair talking to one another, sipping a lemonade from the hot dog on a stick. Hey, dude, you see that new Pink Nipple album? Oh, yeah, it's great.
We are hopeful to be back to serve the San Francisco community in the future and look forward to introducing new ways to provide enhanced service to our loyal local shoppers.
You're abandoning them. They're not loyal to you anymore. They're going to go to Bezos and make that guy even richer.
I think they've been there for a while.
News of the store's departure from San Francisco Center upsetting several local shoppers.
I love Bloomingdale's. I'm going to be sad because I don't know where another one is at, so probably in San Jose or Santa Clara is the next place I will have to go.
You are really dedicated if you're driving all the way to San Jose and fighting that traffic for a third-rate department store.
Yeah, I'd end up sending my money to Bezos.
Bloomingdale's is just the latest store to exit San Francisco. Last year, Macy's, which owns Bloomingdale's, announced it too was leaving its iconic Union Square location. Jim Wonder.
By the way, this shows you part of the problem. Let's forget the crime aspect of it or forget the changing nature of shopping, where most people are doing a lot of their retail shopping online. How far apart was the Bloomies and the Macy's?
Were they right on top of each other?
I mean, San Francisco's a pretty small city, so if you've got one in the center of town and you've got a different one at Union Square, that's not that far apart. You know, there are so many Macy's in the San Fernando Valley within like a 5-mile radius of each other. No wonder nobody's going. There's too many of them.
Well, sometimes you see a Starbucks, and then you look across the street, you see another Starbucks.
That's true. And shockingly, both Starbuckses are full.
Of homeless people taking showers in the sink.
Jim Wonderman of the Bay Area Council says Bloomingdale's departure is another hit to the city's reputation.
There's certainly a narrative that's out there that, San Francisco's better days are behind it and that there's a lot of problems. And this announcement by Bloomingdale fits the narrative really well.
But Wonderman...
The narrative is almost as bad as that guy's internet connection.
Fits narrative really well.
But Wonderman also says he believes that narrative is improving, something that's been seen in the positive feedback city leaders have gotten from recent visitors. Regardless of that improvement, new Mayor Daniel Lurie was quick to respond to Bloomingdale's announcement.
We're going to make sure downtown is safe and clean. We are going to...
You ready for the robot mayor?
He pretty much sounds like a robot all the time, as opposed to Barbara Ferrer, who just sounds like a robot situationally.
Hold on. Let me get it. You asked for this so much, I don't know why I don't just put it on the wall.
I don't like wearing a mask. I find it annoying.
Told ya.
We're going to make sure downtown is safe and clean. We are going to start a new police task force focused on those people coming in for conventions, shoppers, visitors, making sure that they feel safe.
Lurie promising local residents that despite San Francisco's challenges, its best days remain ahead.
We are going to get this right. You have my commitment.
Boy, you can hear the passion in his voice.
Oh, yeah, Vicky the robot from Small Wonder.
We are going to get this right. You have my commitment that our department heads, my team, are going to work tirelessly to make sure that we bring retailers, business, conventions back to San Francisco.
Bloomingdale's is set to close in the spring. In San Francisco, Tim Johns, ABC 7 News.
There you go, the latest major retailer to get out of the city by the bay.
You won't have Bloomingdale's to kick around anymore. If you'd like to email the show, you can do so at johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. That's johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. And Randy, you're monitoring the mailbag.
Greg writes in at johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com and says, I don't think India is as fond of Garcetti as he is of them. And then he sent us 2 screenshots of 2 different news outlets in India announcing Garcetti's departure. One of them called him Eric Garcetting, and the other called him Eric Gaddy.
Close enough. The Fix California Hour coming up after the news at 1. And we're efforting to get a state representative from the state of Hawaii on the program. Her name is Ellie Cochran. We booked her on yesterday's program. Unfortunately, she wasn't able to make it. In other states, unlike California, most state legislatures are part-time. So instead of having a full-time job where you go to Sacramento and fly back to your district, if you're in the state legislature in Hawaii, it's like being on a small-town city council in California. You perform your service, and then you're expected to work a full-time job so you can pay your bills. You don't have a full-time staff. You pretty much have to become a jack of all trades. So that's what she has going on. So she's working a job. She was in a meeting. It ran late. But hopefully we'll have her on the program coming up in just a few minutes. Why are we speaking with a state rep from Hawaii? Well, she's not any normal state rep in Hawaii. She's the state rep from Lahaina. She was one of the few officials who was there when the fires broke out. And she has quite a story to tell. Unfortunately, in many ways, I think she's going to be the ghost of Christmas future and tell us what the future has in store for those of us here who are dealing with the damage of a fire. Either if your home is damaged or burned down due to the fire or the local infrastructure, whatever the case may be, it impacts all of us. And even if you're not in the fire zone, you could see your insurance rates skyrocket into the stratosphere to make up for all of the damage that the fires caused. Now, Randy, speaking of fire and damage, we have a new fire that is spreading quite quickly.
This is the Hughes fire. It's burning near Castaic Lake. They're trying to hit this thing with everything. There's air tankers out there. There's the big helicopters out there. This is north of the Castaic Reservoir, Lake Hughes Road. There are closures off of some of the exits on the 5 freeway, but it looks like right now the 5 is not closed just yet, but they might be getting to that point. There are a lot of mandatory evacuation orders for the Castaic area. Now, luckily, this is mostly brush, not a whole lot of homes at this point. So hopefully they get a handle on this thing, but with the winds getting worse, we might be looking at 40 to 50-mile-hour winds later this afternoon. But they're hitting this thing with everything they can, and there's even a video going viral of a resident in a neighborhood that's near where the fire is who is taking his garden hose and wetting his house just in case.
If you live in the area, if you work in the area, if you're planning on traveling through the area, make sure you're in constant communication with the news, with the local authorities. If you're evacuated, pay attention to it. If you see smoke, obviously, definitely pay attention to it. On your phone, there will be alerts that will pop up from your various counties, if it's in L.A. County or Kern County or whatever the case may be. Pay attention to that because we don't want anyone getting hurt out there. And again, if you're planning on driving up the 5 and this fire spreads or moves, there's potential for more road closures, more freeway closures later on in the day. So make sure you keep an ear out for all of that.
This is wild. I'm seeing just aircraft after aircraft after aircraft after aircraft, one after another, just drop loads and loads and loads of water on this thing. So hopefully we're making some progress here because this thing exploded in the course of an hour. But now it's like they're throwing everything they can at it.
Well, I like to hear that because if you can knock it out in the early stages, then you can avoid a lot of damage and a lot of human misery. All right, we've got 2 more hours coming up on the John Phillips Show. The Fix California Hour is next. Don't you go anywhere. This is Talk Radio 790 KABC.